Say you owned a piece of land, and you thought there might be oil in it.
They're fellas from the petroleum company.
You wouldn't do your own back-of-the-envelope calculations of how much oil you thought there might be in the ground.
Mr. Clampett, that swamp of yours is full of oil.
You wouldn't rent a drilling contractor to try to find and drill the oil, and then you wouldn't ship that oil down to the local filling station.
Well, my company would like to pump it out.
Yeah, I'd like that too, but I just can't afford to have it done.
You would call Exxon, you would call Shell, you would call Chevron. You would do anything but try to do it yourself.
Look, you don't understand. You see, you wouldn't have to pay for it.
And that's what we're trying to do in the world of efficiency reserves, is we're trying to bring together all these disparate elements and produce the energy similar to an oil and gas reserve.
No, Mr. Clampett, you see, you're a very rich man.
Up to 55% of the energy use of commercial buildings is completely wasted.
That wasted energy is energy you don't actually need to consume. That energy can be tapped at a massive scale across the United States.
So the efficiency reserves, the amount of wasted energy in those buildings, is more than $100 billion. There's this colossal market opportunity.
So we pioneered an approach called efficiency production that converts wasted energy into guaranteed revenue.
By 2020, we'll have saved over 3 billion kilowatt hours and made our clients more than $350 million. And we're just getting started.
Right. So that's just a brief intro to Carbon Lighthouse. My name is Greg Gogg. I'm actually a vice president at Ulupono Initiative. We are an impact investment firm here in Hawaii, focused on making Hawaii more self-sustainable with renewable energy, clean transportation, local food production, and water and waste management. And we are fortunate enough to be a partner with Carbon Lighthouse. This is Brendan. He is the CEO and co-founder of Carbon Lighthouse, who has partnered with his friend since kindergarten, Raphael, who you saw in the video. They started Carbon Lighthouse back in 2010, and he is one of the most energetic, most passionate people that I know when it comes to combating climate change and eliminating the use of fossil fuels. So there is a direct aligns with what we're trying to do at Ulupono and here in Hawaii. He's also very analytical and data-driven, so there was an immediate connection, and we hit it off well, and I'm honored to be on stage with him here today. With that, I'll turn it over to you for a brief welcoming and greeting of the audience.
Hey everyone, I'm Brendan Milstein, and very excited to be here and have this conversation together with Greg for y'all. And we should have plenty of time at the end for questions, so excited to hear them. Thank you all for having us.
Yeah, so this is just a brief kind of talk story type session. We'll try to get you out the doors to get that food and lunch ready for you. So with that, I'll just kind of kick it off. Going back to 2010, would love to hear your thoughts on kind of why you and your co-founder started Carbon Lighthouse and what you were hoping to get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think 2010 is when we started the company, and growth has been very good since then. So we've been very fortunate in that regard and have doubled revenue and doubled impact every 14 months for 9.5 years now. So that's starting to add up. We've eliminated the emissions of about 7 power plants. And by the way we track power plants, that leaves us 49,993 left to go. But who's counting? If we keep doubling every 14 months, we should stop climate change in about 19 years, so barely before it's too late. So that's the goal of the company. The passion behind this cause for me actually started far before 2010 and really goes back to high school. So I'm in a giant room full of people, so personal story sharing time. But I was not fortunate to go to Punahou. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area and went to high school in Berkeley, California. And Berkeley in the 90s was a very different place. It was before the first dot-com boom, before the second dot-com boom. Tech wasn't a thing. And my high school, in my 4 years, we had 6 principals and 20 fires, one of which burnt down the B building. And I decided to give up on trying to fix low-income education. But my senior year of high school, I took a nuclear engineering class at UC Berkeley, and just fell in love, as one does in nuclear engineering. But here was this way to use math to improve the lives of billions of people. And very unlike public education, the financials were totally aligned. We could just hand people money to do the right thing for the planet. So figuring out how to hand people money to stop climate change has been my cause ever since. So I went off to Harvard to study physics with Raphael, although, as Greg mentioned, we grew up 5 blocks apart and have been best friends since we were 4. He abandoned me for private high school, but that's okay. We've worked through that. And fast forward a decade to 2010 and started Carbon Lighthouse with the exact same goal of figuring out how to make it very profitable for people to reduce emissions, because we believe that's the only way to grow large enough, quickly enough overall to actually matter for the problem we're trying to solve.
Great, thanks. And thanks for reassuring the comment about being analytical and data-driven. So we got a little teaser with the video, but I would love to kind of have you maybe go a bit deeper in explaining kind of the efficiency reserves or the efficiency production that was highlighted in the video.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first started the company, we looked around the world to figure out what firms had changed the way energy was used globally in just a few short decades, because that's all we have. And sadly, it's very much not clean energy companies. It is oil and gas. So from Standard Oil's launch in the 1860s through about 1885, so 25 years, they had 90% of global oil was flowing through Standard Oil's system, and it completely revolutionized the world and how business got done. And there's 2 elements of oil in particular that we are imitating here at Carbon Lighthouse. The irony is not lost on us, don't worry. But the first is the contract structure is really simple. So when you go to an oil company, namely a gas station, and you buy a gallon of gas, if you take a gallon bucket and you pump what the machine says should be a gallon into it, if it's half full, you have someone to sue. And so we imitated that same contract structure, which is we charge a fixed monthly fee. If savings are less than the floor we guarantee, we write a check to cover the difference. If they're greater, client keeps it, and that's that. And we do mess up. We're in a little more than 600 buildings now, and I think about 2.5% of the time we've missed on the guarantee and had to refund. And those misses aren't catastrophic. All in, I think 1% of revenue back to 2011 has gone to refunds. So that's step 1 of imitating oil that way. And then the other step is oil is very careful about what you pay for. So you don't pay for the exploration well, you don't pay for the pipeline, you don't pay for the derrick, you just pay for the energy you use. And similar to how oil companies have developed deep technology to most cost-effectively harvest oil, we have developed deep technology to help us most cost-effectively reduce energy waste in buildings. And so that's our software called Clues, but then similar to oil, we don't sell a software license, we're not offering a dashboard, we're not charging for large equipment replacement, we're just charging a fixed fee in exchange for guaranteeing energy savings. So that's the process of efficiency production.
So in short, to make sure that at least I'm understanding you correctly, your goal is to eliminate the use of fossil fuels. And in doing that, you looked to model your business off of oil.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, okay, yeah, just wanted to make clear. And so, I mean, obviously, very ambitious goals. Like I said, well aligned with Ulupono, and I think probably nearly everyone in this room. But I mean, why Hawaii? Why, you're doing well on the mainland, and kind of nationally, what kind of drew you out to the islands here?
Yeah. So Hawaii, we're in Maui. Hawaii is the best. From a business perspective, Hawaii has been phenomenal for us. So we just announced on Monday our work with Hawaiian Airlines. We're also partnered with Alexander Baldwin Company, Scheidler Group, a number of other sites and firms in Hawaii. I think our closest building here is Kahului Office Building, which has Central Pacific Bank in it, as well as Bistro Casanova, which is completely delicious, highly recommend. And Hawaii, there's a bunch of advantages, which is, first off, people care. people in Hawaii care culturally. We're in this beautiful environment. It's very visceral and tangible to protect it. It's a low-lying island, so the risks are greater. So there's much more of a cultural match. From an environmental perspective, almost 70% of Hawaii's electricity comes from oil, and another 15% from coal. So reducing energy use here is actually much better for the planet than it is for us to reduce it in a lot of places on the mainland. And then financially, on the continent, we're delivering very good financial returns, but here they're about 3 times better because the cost of grid is so expensive. So there's this huge confluence of events in terms of good cultural fit, like pretty ridiculous financial returns for landlords and tenants, and then also better environmental benefit for us. So it's a great place to do business, and I can't disclose specifics of financials, but on average in Hawaii, we're delivering about $1 a square foot of savings, and our work just with Alexander and Baldwin Company has resulted in more than 50,000 barrels of oil being saved, which is not insubstantial. So Hawaii has been great.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal news, particularly when we talk about eliminating or reducing our dependence, Hawaii's dependence on imported fossil fuels. So 50,000 barrels with just Alexander and Baldwin alone is great progress and very excited to hear. And that goes back, I think, roughly 3 years. You guys have been working with Alexander and Baldwin. Can you maybe talk a bit more about that experience and how that has progressed through the years?
Yeah. So I think one of the benefits of our system that has made it very easy for us to work in Hawaii is that we work with all the local contractors. So we have we have offices in New York, San Francisco, opening LA this week, and Honolulu as well. But we don't need to bring in contractors from the mainland or anything like that. The way our system works is we deploy sensors on site, and then we work with local contractors, and we hire local contractors directly to do the work. So Alexander Baldwin Company already has a network of firms they like working with, and we can just drive more work to them. And so effectively, we're taking hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars from oil imports and then driving it to tenants and landlords and local contractors here. So that's been the setup with A and B, and that's what we do everywhere.
Great. So not only saving energy, reducing our imported oil, but also helping the local economy and jobs, and the extended benefits go beyond that, which is very exciting. So with all that, I mean, like I said, it's been roughly 3 years, I think, kind of since you entered the Hawaii market, still fairly new. What's next? What gets you excited, particularly for your work here in Hawaii?
Yeah, so we're doubling the size of the Hawaii office, actually tomorrow, which I'm excited about. And there is plenty of work left to do here. So the financials for our clients and their tenants are excellent, and the environmental benefits are superb here. So we've been here for 3 years, and I'm excited for another 300 together.
Great, thank you. And congrats on expanding the team here. I know you guys recently got into new offices. They were in a tiny office at Ulupono for quite some time. So
Thank you for that.
It's very exciting to kind of see them evolve and grow, specifically here on Hawaii, let alone the mainland. So with that, we'll open it up to any questions from the audience, if we have some out there. So the first question here, it says, what is the average timeline from customers sign on with Carbon Lighthouse to seeing their reduced electricity bill? Good question.
Yeah, great question. Longer than we want. So from first, when we move forward deploying sensors to figuring out exactly what should be done in the building is about 3 months. And then to actually get all of those changes done and have energy savings flowing is typically another 3 to 6 months. So anywhere from 2 quarters to 3 quarters. So sadly, we can't deliver savings tomorrow if we engage, which is the reality of working with physical things.
So just to clarify, so that's from engagement. But once things are implemented, how quickly do they see savings?
Oh, then the savings are immediate. So once it's implemented, the next month the bill will be lower.
Great. Okay. And the last question, this is an interesting one. So how do you work with clients so that motivation to combat global warming is more than just financially focused? Yeah, I had the same reaction.
Great question. In Hawaii, that is easier. So there are many fewer climate deniers in Hawaii. Like this is an environmentally focused place. Our corporate ethos and mentality is very well aligned with the culture here. So here it's not hard. Here we can lead with our true colors of being capitalistic tree-hugging hippies, but tree-hugging hippies. On the mainland, it can be more challenging. There are climate deniers, particularly in real estate. Our president is one of them. And so there we often lead with financials. And some clients really care about the mission. And so then we are very open about that. And other clients either don't care, some are actively opposed. We have a very large tent strategy. So for the clients, be it the whole organization and having sustainability goals or just individuals within that firm, when they're excited about our mission, we talk about the mission very openly and are excited and can help use that to drive action. And for clients that are not necessarily on board with trying to reduce fossil fuel use, no problem. It's financial. We can provide for a 10 million square foot portfolio. We can boost value by $50 to $100 million for the landlord, and that's usually enough money to get them to say, cool, don't care about the mission, let's do this. So for those who care about the mission, we're very open. For those who don't, we just focus on the financials.
Great, thank you. So there are lots of other good questions here. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but feel free to come talk to me, come talk to Brendan. There's other folks from Carbon Lighthouse around as well, and you guys also have some space up above. Love to dive into more of these questions. And with that, I thank you all for your time. I thank Brendan for joining us here on stage, and enjoy your lunch.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.